Brexit has cost the UK economy billions of pounds in lost trade and tax revenues. That's according to research shared with ITV News by the respected think tank, the Centre for European Reform. It estimates the economy is 5% smaller than it would have been if the UK had stayed in the EU. It also found trade in goods and investment were 13% lower, but services were 7% higher than if Brexit hadn't happened. From Devon, our business editor Joel Hill sent this special report.
A new dawn. That's exactly how Brexit was sold to the people of Brixham. But for some here, it hasn't worked out that way.
We mainly send through France, Belgium, Holland.
The fish market is open and Ian Perks is buying. Almost all of his customers are in the EU, but nowadays to export fish there, you need to fill in forms. Ian says new customs rules are costing his business £300 a day.
I feel we've been brainwashed.
When the Prime Minister visited Brixham, he told Ian his business would boom after Brexit.
Brexit has meant that we have to work harder for less money. We have to employ extra staff for the admin. I was the first one to put my hands up to say I'm sorry that I voted to come out of Europe. I really wish that we were still in it.
You regret it?
Oh, absolutely.
The Centre for European Reform has modelled the economic performance of a UK that remained in the EU, using data from countries whose performance was similar to ours before Brexit. It then compared this with the actual performance of the UK economy since the referendum 6 years ago. It concludes that by the end of last year, our economy was 5% smaller than it would have been had we stayed in the EU, that investment by businesses and government was 13% lower, so too was goods trade, but services trade was 7% higher. How can you be so sure that this damage has been caused by Brexit rather than the pandemic?
Most economies have recovered from COVID. Most economies are now bigger than they were just before the pandemic struck. And so if the UK is quite so far behind, then Brexit has to be the major cause.
This analysis shows that Brexit has cost the UK billions of pounds in lost trade, lost investment and lost tax revenues. Money the country could really do with at a time of rising national debt and falling living standards. Of course, the Prime Minister promises to produce a high-wage, high-productivity, low-tax economy. But the evidence suggests that Brexit so far has produced the opposite. For many people, of course, Brexit was about greater political independence, not economic growth, and Karen Morris has no regrets.
How long were we in Europe? So, you've got to expect some sort of disruption.
It's the price that's worth paying.
Of course it is. In the long run, yeah.
Our economy has been hit by a series of shocks in recent years. The pandemic and the war in Ukraine are the primary causes of the cost of living squeeze we now face. But the economic damage that Brexit has caused is becoming clearer and harder to ignore. Joel Hills, ITV News in Brixham.